Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Mindful Monday. I hope you're all well, and if it's your first time joining us, feel free to put in the comments where you're coming from, if you have any questions. Even if you have any suggestions for future topics, we'd love to hear about them, as well as if it is your first time and you type the word mindful after the recording, whether you're watching live or a recorded version, I will put in a link that you can follow to get a free copy of Hypnosis audio on releasing limiting beliefs, as well as our PDF cheat sheet, which is just simply a little PDF that comes out every week that discusses kind of a points of what we discussed today. So today we are here to talk about how to stop isolating when faced with anxiety or stress. And I'm going to promise we're going to keep it really brief and short today because we are in a state of emergency here in Florida with an upcoming storm, as is typical this time of year. So just we're not going to go into any deep processes or anything like that. I will refer to a couple though, in case you do want to access that. All right, so what happens is often when we are anxious or stressed, we want to kind of isolate, we want to be alone, we want to avoid others, and this can be worse if it's kind of related to work or school, a period of a place where we might kind of feel scrutinized or observed kind of thing. And so it's been proven that this experiential avoidance, like kind of avoiding the things that we feel are going to make things worse, actually does make things worse. So at first you might feel a sense of relief, you might feel a little bit better, but what happens is like right after that relief, you kind of go back to the same sense of anxiety or stress, and it compounds because now you've avoided it. So it kind of makes it worse. And it can actually develop into a phobia if left unadvised, shall we say. I don't want to say untreated because we don't really treat in hypnosis, but you get what I'm saying. So you might ask, well, what can I do? So the things to do are when you're in a calm state before all this happens, you want to kind of prepare. And so you can make a couple of lists if you like. Hi, whoever you are, you're giving a thumbs up. Welcome. So you might list folks that you already enjoy speaking to or that you might want to speak to. And, it can be anybody. Remember, our brains are used to following certain patterns. So if we're going to keep going in the same patterns, we're going to keep getting what we always got, the definition of insanity, basically. So we want to create kind of a healthy pattern. And even if it's just thinking, you don't actually have to go out and talk to these people, but you can, you can kind of think of, oh, well, I might want to talk to so-and-so, or they're kind of friendly, whether you know them or not. So that's number one. It's kind of brief and it's going to be very general today. I was thinking about going a little bit more in depth into certain aspects, but I'm going to keep it very brief and general today. So number two is just in case it's someone that you don't know very well, if you're kind of the introvert, right? Then you might want to list some kind of fun topics that you really enjoy talking about. And it can be really anything. I mean, keep it PC and, all kinds of very, PG related too, but any kind of topic that is appropriate, that you enjoy talking about to other folks, okay? So you really want to think about that because this is a great practice if you want to kind of reach out to folks that you do not know and you want to have some kind of interaction, particularly if you're feeling this stress, this anxiety, this scrutiny or something like that. But you don't want to talk about that stress, anxiety, or scrutiny because they're not close friends. So this is a great thing. Just kind of have like some things. Oh, well, I really like talking about, for me, yoga. I really like talking about a certain type of movie, those kind of things. So just having that. Now, number three is going to be a little different. You want to make a list of how you will celebrate each time you do this new behavior. You go out and you talk to people instead of hiding or isolating. And so remember when we talked about, it was only a couple of weeks ago, we had a couple of weeks that we did talk about how to celebrate when we did tiny habits. So every time you celebrate, it can be the smallest thing, just talking to somebody one time when you felt like hiding. If you celebrate that, doesn't matter if you do your own little personal happy dance, if you go, yay, me, or if you pat yourself, proverbially on the back in your mind, it doesn't matter. You're celebrating. So celebrating yourself for small things, and most of us want to wait till we do a big thing, but when we celebrate the small things, what we're doing is we're creating those neural pathways. We're releasing neurotransmitters that actually encourage us to do this behavior again. So this is a very positive, very great thing to do. It sounds so minuscule, and nobody wants to celebrate small things because we think we have to run the full marathon. We think we have to go to the gym 8 weeks in a row. And it's not about that. It's about celebrating the small. So that's the next one. Now, the next one we talked about, I think it was probably about 8 or 9 months ago, but you want to make a list of your role models. Now, your role models are your role models, so you can list anyone that you look up to. It can be a real person, it can be a historical person, it can be someone you know, it can be a superhero or a cartoon character. It can be really, anyone at all, but someone whom you admire, who would react or act in the ways that you want to act and react in any situation. So it could be someone who's very outgoing when they're feeling stressed or anxious, or when they're feeling scrutinized. It could be someone who's exhibiting confidence. It can be someone who's got this sense of connection, who's got whatever it is that you want. And this is very general and useful overall. It's an NLP technique, okay? So whatever it is you desire more of, you can really focus in on this. Focus in on the role models that you want to have more of their qualities per se, okay? And then what you can do is, there is a full technique that we did probably about 9 months ago. So you can look that up on YouTube, or you can just simply drop down into your own mind, meditate on that person, and you can kind of envision the things that they might be thinking to themselves, the thoughts, the mannerisms they might have, what they might be doing in their own lives, the qualities they have, and then you can kind of envision yourself taking on those qualities. So that's the short-term, non-hypnotic kind of way of doing it. But there is a full hypnotic, or NLP, if you will, kind of protocol that I did go through. So if you wanted to listen to that, you can go back through YouTube. I didn't want to take us too deep today. I wanted to keep this really light and on the up and up here so that nobody's distracted today. So a couple other things. So if you're very much an introvert, and I relate to this so much because believe it or not, I am an introvert. It is even hard for me sometimes to do Mindful Monday every week. And I know I was a dancer for many years. I've done Swan Lake and all this stuff, and I love being on stage. However, when it comes to just one-on-one or actually video interactions, I get oh, do I really want, and I speak publicly, but it's not the most comfortable thing. It's taken a lot of work. Yeah, hearts to you. So it does take some work, and but it's possible, all right? So if you are one of those introverts, you might want to utilize some really grounding techniques. Some folks will go out in nature, or you can even just sit with yourself. And I think we did this about 9 months ago, around another time that a storm was coming into Florida. And I think the title of that YouTube was How to Calm and Ground in Times of Unease or something like that. You can take, it's like peace fingers. It's a yoga mudra, and plant them into the ground or into the cushions. I'm sitting on a couch, and kind of just take some deep breaths, sorry, breaths. And this is a very grounding mudra, and you can also or envision kind of just breathing nice and deep. The breath is so important in everything. When we breathe in our chest, we're putting ourselves into fight or flight. When we use that belly breathing and we do that nice deep abdominal breathing, we're really putting ourselves into rest and digest. And you can kind of envision, even if you need to ground as an introvert, kind of roots just grounding down through the soles of your feet into Mother Earth, into all that is nature. Or you can go out into nature and, take a couple walks a day, or even sit with your back against a tree. So that can be very grounding for the introverts. And yes, Rob, introverts do rock. we just need to learn how to get along with others sometimes, right? Now, finally, one other topic that I did want to cover quickly today, because this is a brief one, is if you're an empath. And empaths also rock, right? But if you're an empath who feels that they take on so many other people's kind of energy or qualities, and you kind of feel exhausted at the end of the day from going through all this, you can try a shielding meditation. And I will in the future, I promise, because so many people have been asking about this, I will in the future do a full Mindful Monday on this. But to briefly cover it, you can imagine kind of putting on, my favorite is kind of put on, particularly around a hurricane time, to put on a Teflon cloak, like a raincoat, and just let everybody else bounce off me. But you can do the Wonder Woman bracelets, or you can do a superhero kind of cloak or cape or something like that. And so remember, your subconscious mind is not really aware of what's real and what's not real. It's about the age of 7. So your imagination, just using your imagination, envisioning or feeling or sensing, meditating on these things can really be a powerful practice. So I just really want to encourage you all to kind of take that 1 minute. If you feel like you're an empath, you can really make positive and powerful changes in your life by just envisioning, I'm putting on my cloak and shielding. All right? So thank you all. Stay safe if you're in the state of Florida, and have a great Mindful Monday.